Hello guys, welcome to the final video of the Exhaust Arm project. In today's video, I'm going to share with you the things that I learned regarding project management during this project. One thing that is for sure, no matter what kind of project you're working on, is scheduling and scope. As long as you don't have deadlines and milestones and these kind of things, you will forever procrastinate and never do anything. Your project will just remain some kind of dream. And you really have to define at what point you want to do X, Y, Z. That's very important. It gives you, I wouldn't necessarily call that some kind of pressure or stress, but it really helps you focus on what you're doing and be more disciplined. Because sure, passion and willpower are very important, but you won't go very far if you only have that. And scheduling goes in pair with scope. Your scope is really what you want to do, it's your target, it's the project itself. And sometimes you may work on a specific part of the project and you may start spending a lot of time on that specific thing. And that's where you need to look to reassess the situation and to keep in mind that what you're doing is not that specific thing, but the project itself. There is nothing wrong with diving into complexity, but this is something that you should do once you already have some kind of prototype. Your main goal is to really have that proof of concept and get to the prototype ASAP because you never know what kind of problems you will face ahead. And it's only when you finish the first prototype that you can say, okay, oh, I didn't think of this, I didn't think of that. Problems will come, don't worry. And if you choose the most complicated uh, path right from the beginning, I mean, you end up depressed and you won't do anything. Like for my project, for example, I didn't start with an STM. My first code was I was using an Arduino. I didn't even bother. I just wanted to see how things will look like. If you want to add more complexity, you can do that, but only after you already have something. Which brings me to the second point, which is dealing with failure because you will fail a lot. And for that reason, you really need to rely, or I would say, look back at what you already did to get a little bit of positive feedback loop. But if you didn't do anything and you just keep taking L's over L's because you're always going for the most complicated things, you're probably never gonna make it because at the end of the day, you need to be in a positive mindset to make things, to build things, to work on your projects. So you really have to, sure, it's a long journey and all that, but you must see things on the bright side. Even though we tend to focus on the negative, you have to sometimes look at what you did, and it doesn't have to be something extremely complicated, but at least you can see your progression throughout the entire project. And the first times, like I remember when I was at some point I was having issues on the mechanical part, the software, the electronics, nothing was working. And it's perfectly okay to just stop everything and take a break, like 2 weeks, and come back later. It's not a job. I mean, it's a hobby, it's something that you enjoy doing, and you can always come back to that whenever you feel ready. And the more you face these failures, the more, I mean, the faster you will recover from them. It will become some kind of routine. You will accept the fact that things are not going to work right at the first try. When it comes to being a maker, a hobbyist, you don't need to have the most advanced equipment out there. You don't have an oscilloscope, okay, it's not a big deal. You have those your mic controllers, they have ADC, you can use that. You don't have a, I don't know, a regulated power supply, you can use a phone charger. You don't have X, you can use this, you can use that. And also, one of the things that I did at the beginning of a project, I was really feeling like Bruce Wayne. I was always going for the most expensive things, going on, for example, every time I was on Radio Spare, I didn't even want to try Amazon or AliExpress to buy my little things. I was always like, no, I want quality kind of thing. And I mean, it's not sustainable, especially if you're broke like me. You wouldn't go very far like that. But if I absolutely need this high quality device that I can only find on this specialized website, of course I will go there and buy what I have to buy. But if it's some resistors, capacitors, you know, the classic things, I mean, you can just go on AliExpress and Amazon and get everything there. And they have a lot of interesting things. The part of the project where I spent more money than I expected was the making of the PCBs. Now, the PCBs themselves are not expensive, but when you want them, you know, you want a manufacturer to assemble the parts on the PCB, the price can go up real fast. Now, I don't like to solder, especially when I have SMD components. It's just painful. So I rather pay a little bit more money and have the complete board. You can always try to see how you can reduce the cost. And if you've watched my PCB tips video, I said that, for example, when you're designing your PCBs, you rather use a lot of components of the same values. For example, instead of having a 47 kilo ohm or 50 kilo ohm resistor, you will rather use 200 kilo ohm resistors in parallel because you're more likely to have that elsewhere on your circuit. So by doing that, you're going to save some money. And the final point is documentation. Documentation is very, very important. It's very easy to overlook that because you may think, okay, I know how to do it. I search, I know how to do XYZ, and I was the one working on that. I will remember. The thing is, after a few weeks, months, but I don't think that after 3, 4, 10 years, you're gonna remember how you did XYZ. It's always a good thing to have some documentation. It can be like me, like having my videos. It can be writing in a book. It can be anything, but you just have to consider that as your past self that is keeping some knowledge for your future self that may need that someday. So you're just going to come back and look at what you did. And if everything is well documented, commented, everything is fine, it will make your life so much easier. So don't overlook this aspect of the project. I would say it's even the most fundamental part because it will save you a tremendous amount of time to not go and try to remember where you went and why you did this instead of that and all these things. So don't rely too much on your hippocampus. I wanted to say thank you to those who watch the videos and subscribe to the channel, and that I won't be posting anything for quite some time because I'll be busy working on project number 2, which is going to be far superior to this one. And I wish you to also work on an interesting project for the upcoming year. So, see you next time, guys. Bye.